Ukraine and U.S. officials continue to negotiate temporary ceasefires concerning Black Sea operations and energy infrastructure strikes. The ceasefires are not yet fully agreed upon. Ukraine's Ministry of Energy reported that Ukraine and the United States have created a list of energy facilities that Russia must stop attacking, but Russia's demands differ. According to Ukraine, Russia's list does not prevent attacks on Ukrainian oil and gas facilities, while Russia claims its own oil and gas facilities are protected under the ceasefire. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky stated that Defense Minister Rustem Umerov will present evidence of Russian ceasefire violations to U.S. officials during an upcoming visit. No official agreement detailing the exact terms of the ceasefire has been released. Zelensky suggested that Turkey, Bulgaria, the United Kingdom, the United States, France, and Romania could act as monitors for a Black Sea truce. He said all parties will consult internally and internationally to determine their readiness to monitor the ceasefire. U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance stated that an energy infrastructure ceasefire is in place and that a maritime ceasefire is close to being finalized. Despite the lack of a formal agreement, officials from the United States, Ukraine, and Russia appear to believe an energy infrastructure ceasefire is active. Russia seems to be using the Black Sea ceasefire talks to see how much it can gain from negotiations with the West. A report stated that Russia is demanding the European Union reconnect a major Russian bank to the SWIFT banking system before agreeing to a Black Sea ceasefire. Russia is testing whether the United States will support such a move and push European nations to relax sanctions. Russian sources claim they want to see if they can obtain broader sanctions relief by securing this financial concession first. However, a ceasefire in the Black Sea could be established without lifting sanctions, as seen in previous agreements between Russia, Ukraine, and Turkey. European leaders have advised against lifting sanctions while Russia continues to occupy parts of Ukraine and wage war. European allies are continuing to support Ukraine financially and militarily. Zelensky announced that at a recent meeting in Paris, European countries agreed to expand intelligence sharing with Ukraine. Some European nations have agreed to provide Ukraine with greater access to their ammunition supplies. Ukraine has also reached agreements on air defense production licenses and investments in drone and missile production. The United Kingdom and Germany are planning a defense meeting in April 2025. France pledged to send an additional military aid package worth about $2.1 billion, including missiles, armored vehicles, drones, and fighter jets. Sweden allocated about $7.5 million to help Ukraine with demining and drone technology. Denmark pledged approximately $43.5 million to support Ukraine's development of electronic warfare and drone capabilities. Russian forces are expected to intensify their attacks in several regions in the coming months, hoping to gain an advantage in ceasefire negotiations. Reports suggest Russia may launch a new offensive soon to pressure Ukraine. Ukrainian officials believe Russian forces are preparing to increase attacks in Sumy, Kharkiv, and Zaporizhia regions. Ukrainian military sources have observed an increase in Russian reconnaissance missions and offensive activity. Some reports indicate Russian forces have moved within 3 kilometers of the Donetsk-Dnipropetrovsk border. Analysts believe Russia could use any advances it makes to gain leverage in future peace talks and to demand additional Ukrainian territory. Despite Russia's plans, experts doubt that it can successfully conduct 3 large-scale offensives against major Ukrainian cities. Russia has suffered significant losses in both equipment and personnel over the past 3 years and has not demonstrated the ability to coordinate complex attacks on multiple fronts since 2022. It is unlikely that Russia has enough reserves to launch major offensives without pulling forces from other regions. If Russian forces advance closer to major Ukrainian cities, it could be an attempt to make civilian life unbearable or to position themselves strategically before a potential ceasefire. The Kremlin may also use any gains to justify demands for more Ukrainian territory in future negotiations. Russia continues to target Ukrainian infrastructure, using increasingly sophisticated drone tactics. The Ukrainian Air Force reported that Russia launched a massive wave of drones, with Ukrainian defenses managing to intercept a significant portion of them. Russia has also used ballistic missiles to attack cities, causing civilian casualties and damage to buildings. Reports suggest that Russian forces are using long-range drones in new ways, making it more difficult for Ukrainian defenses to intercept them. Russia has started using drones that loiter at high altitudes before attacking, often in coordinated strikes. In response to the ongoing attacks, Ukraine is reforming its Air Force command structure. Zelensky ordered the Ministry of Defense and General Staff to create a new aviation chain of command to strengthen Ukraine's air capabilities. Defense Minister Rustem Umerov announced a large-scale aviation management reform. Several new officials have been appointed to oversee Ukraine's Air Force restructuring. These efforts are aimed at improving Ukraine's ability to integrate Western aircraft like the F-16 into its air defense strategy. The full details of the new command structure have not been disclosed, but the goal is to optimize Air Force operations and coordination with ground forces. Ukraine continues to receive support from Western allies, but Russia's strategy suggests it will keep using negotiations as leverage while intensifying military operations. The situation remains fluid, with ongoing attacks and evolving ceasefire talks shaping the next phase of the conflict.